Hello, and welcome to another episode of Cinnamon Chat. So, my name is Netila. I'm 14 years old. I'm the CEO and founder of Marspreneurs. Marspreneurs is an academy to teach entrepreneurship to children. And if you're looking for more videos like these, you can find them on my YouTube channel, Cinnamon Chat with Netila. And you can get connected to me through LinkedIn. So, we have a very special guest today, and we will be talking about the topic leadership for change, inspiring the youth. So, today we'll be learning from a global voice of change, and he's someone who is well educated on the environment and sustainability. And he's an outstanding leader and inspiration to many people around the world. And I have also personally seen a lot of his interviews, and I am also inspired by him. So he has played many roles, and he's very active when it comes to initiatives about the environment. So without further ado, let me bring onto the stage Mr. Erik Solheim. Hello, sir.
Hi, thank you so much, Netila, for this kind words. I'm very honored to be with you.
It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to learn from you today, sir. So for my first question, I want to start off is something I'm asked from a lot of people is I want to know about your childhood, your school, things like that.
I had, I think, a quite normal childhood. I played soccer. That was for sure my main interest when I was a child. I had the idea that I would one day be a professional soccer player and play at big games, because I had never the talent whatsoever for that, but that was my big dream as a child. I spent also quite a lot of time out in nature, because my hometown of Oslo has the huge benefit that if you go 20 minutes by tram in any direction, you are out in nature. And of course in winter we went skiing, in summer we went hiking and going for a walk. So we had a lot of relations to nature, which may be one reason why I had taken so much interest in nature later on. But I had a normal, what we'd consider middle-class upbringing in Norway. And as I said, I'm a soccer. Football was by far my main interest when I was a child.
So you loved soccer?
Absolutely. And of course, we are very proud in Norway now, because maybe the most famous soccer player of this age, Mr. Haaland, is of course Norwegian. While the Norwegian national team is not doing well, we are far behind our other nations, but we have one or two great players.
So what I really want to know is about your school. Now, you mentioned that you went to normal school, you lived a very normal life, you played soccer, you did everything that other kids did. But how was your performance in school?
Well, I had the fortune of course having good parents who tried to teach me a lot of their knowledge. So I did fairly well in school, particularly in the topics which was of greatest interest to me and still are, like geography, history, these kinds of topics, but also in physics and others. So overall, I performed quite well in school, even if I may have been considered quite lazy. I didn't do a lot of homework, but still, lucky enough, I did well.
You sound a lot like me.
Yeah, I mean, of course, everything which is boring, I try to avoid, and a lot of the homework was very, very boring those days. For sure.
I don't like homework, but we have to do it.
Yeah, and you need to learn. But of course, there are many ways of learning. We should also appreciate that you can learn quite a lot. I mean, these days by going on the net, by speaking to other people. There are so many ways to knowledge. And one of them is school, but there are many others. But if you give up if you stop being curious of trying to learn, you are finished. We should learn until the last day. I had a friend in Norway. He passed away last year. He was 98, and he's my idol, because to his very last breath, he wanted to learn something new, to do something new, to experience something new. Never ever stopping learning, even at the age of 98.
I love that. So what I want to ask is, did you really know what you wanted to be when you were younger? Did you know, this is the job I want to do, this is who I want to be, this is what I want to represent when I'm older? Did you know that from a young age?
No, I had no particular idea about a particular job, but I had what I will consider values. And the value, I changed my view on certain issues, like say I have when I was younger, I had a more negative view of private business. Now I believe private business and commerce is the main avenue to say the green revolution we need to have in the world. But on the values, they are very similar. I want to protect nature. I believe in a society with solidarity. We should take care of everyone, not just the rich and powerful. So these values I have cared for from very early days.
Okay, so you do. So you love nature.
Absolutely, for sure. And of course, Norway has a very beautiful nature, I have to say. Even if I was asked what nature I prefer, whether Sri Lankan or Norwegian, I tend to prefer the Sri Lankan because it's much greener. There are many more species. We have wonderful mountains in Norway, but of course we have a very limited panorama of different species, whether animals or plants, because we are so far north. But Sri Lanka has such an enormous variety, so green. You plant something in Sri Lanka and it comes up in the next nanosecond, while in Norway it takes years for a tree to grow.
But Norway is a beautiful country.
It's beautiful, yeah, absolutely. Maybe the most beautiful are our fjords, which are spectacular from any perspective, but they're not green and arable like Sri Lankan mountains, but they're very beautiful.
When did you want to start protecting nature? When did you develop your love for nature and you felt like you wanted to protect it?
When I was a child, we spent most of all our summer holidays in the Norwegian mountains, because where we could follow the cows and the sheep and the goats there, and also look for wild animals like moose or foxes or other wild animals. So I believe I got this love for nature from the very early days, where we spent in the mountains and during the rest of the year in a lot in the forest of Oslo. We have beautiful city forests in Oslo also.
So that's when you wanted to start protecting the environment. That's when you developed your love for the environment, right?
That was how I developed the love for environment. Of course, it took more time to understand that you need to protect nature in a political sense. I mean, meaning making national parks or protecting the species which are threatened or fighting climate change. That came later.
So you are currently working with many organizations. I really want to know how you manage your time.
The most important in whatever you do, that is to find good friends, good colleagues, people you trust. Because you can never manage everything yourself, and if you try to do everything alone, you will never succeed. So I would say the most important factor is that, say I went for the last 2 weeks in India, and I had very good Indian colleagues who helped me to organize everything, to organize the travel, to book the tickets, but of course to organize the conversations. You have people to help you. That's the most important way to manage the time.
Okay. I personally use things like Google Calendar and calendar marking, and most of the time I had to rely on my dad as well. Always reminding me, you might have this, make sure to check for this. So sometimes my dad always helps me remind myself. Absolutely.
And of course you need to prioritize what's important to you, because there's just 24 hours a day and you want some hours of sleep. So you need to, what you want to achieve, and then, of course, how do you want to relax? Because you cannot work all the time. You may also want to relax somewhat, have some good meals, or to do some exercise, or to, for sure, be with friends. So throughout my life, I have mainly prioritized, number one, my work, and number two, my family. These have been the two main priorities, and everything else has come secondary to these two.
I love that. First work, then family.
Yeah, or first family and second work. I mean,
they're both number one.
Most important. Yeah, exactly.
So I want to know what you do at ZeroPlastic.
That is, I mean, plastic has come to become a huge global problem. When plastic was invented in America and back in the 1950s, was seen as a wonderful material which could solve most problems in the world. It could protect against diseases in hospitals. It could preserve food much longer. It had a huge number of wonderful applications, but then we started overusing it and it ended up in nature, and that must stop. I mean, it's a triple crisis. Animals are dying from eating plastics. This is also an economic crisis. I mean, Sri Lanka, for instance, is so much dependent on tourism. No one wants to go swimming in a pool of plastic. And it's even a health issue. Very recently, doctors in Beijing, in China, they found small fragments of plastics in the brain when they did their surgery. So this must stop. One very good, fantastic development is the ZeroPlastic Movement in Sri Lanka, which was started with a young Sri Lankan, Da Silva, who mobilize Nishanka da Silva, mobilize so many people for this. I told him at the time, you must be crazy. I said, no one will take interest in plastic because Sri Lanka is such a difficult economic situation, so that's the main priority of everyone. But he said, no, I can mobilize many students and young people to fight plastic. And he was right. I mean, thousands of people have turned out to the beaches, to the rivers of Colombo, beaches of Galle, many other places in Sri Lanka to pick plastic and to fight plastic pollution. So this is so wonderful to see because the plastic pollution must stop. We cannot allow cows and elephants and sea turtles or seabirds to die from eating plastic. It's horrible.
I agree. So I haven't seen politicians call themselves green politicians in this part of the world exactly. So can you explain the meaning of what exactly is a green politician?
That's of course a politician who put the environment as the center stage. I believe that if you look to the 21st century, there is one issue above everything else. Of course, we need to keep peace, otherwise nothing else will be meaningful in the world. But the one big issue of the 21st century is to bring economic growth and development, bring every human out of poverty, while at the same time doing it in such a way that we protect Mother Earth better. And for the first time that is possible, because in the past you needed to use coal if you wanted to develop. There's no need any longer because solar and wind is cheaper. So for the first time in human history, we can have rapid economic development while taking care of the environment. That's all the same. That's a wonderful opportunity now.
So that's what a green politician is.
That's how I see a green politician, to promote better life for every human, while at the same time not respecting Mother Earth and environment. Look, every religion in the world put environment at the top. I mean, the Christian Bible start with the environment. Hindus, they even venerated nature so much that they made God like Ganesh. I mean, he's half elephant, half human. Hanuman is half monkey, half human, just to show the respect for nature. Nature is half, animals and humans are all the same. It's a God. So, and if you go on to Buddhism, Islam, other religions, it's all the same. Every thinking individual throughout history has understood the importance of protecting the nature.
So, okay, so now I know what a green politician is, because when I first heard green politician, I was wondering, so what's a green politician? Are they same? So thank you for that. Earlier,
no,
sir, you mentioned...
Of course, it may have different opinions, or different interpretations in different societies. Look, during the Paris Climate Conference, they covered the Eiffel Tower so it was shining green. And then some people said, oh no, this is very dangerous because green is the color of Islam and we don't want more Muslims to come to France. So you can misinterpret everything, because for the people of Paris, green meant environment. But for some people, also green meant Islam, or there can be any other interpretation of green.
So, sir, earlier you mentioned about well, it's not really related to retirement, but you said something about always wanting to learn until your last breath.
Absolutely, yeah.
So what is retirement to you? I mean, is there a point where you should stop learning and stop working? What exactly is retirement to you?
I have no intention of retiring. I hope I can continue working in different capacities to my last breath. I mean, not necessarily in a formal job where you get a payment, but there are so many ways people can help society. I mean, I'm not the type who will go around golfing or anything like that in my retirement, for sure, never. But I mean, nothing wrong with those who want to do that, but that's not
you. So, like, retire, you can retire, but it's better to keep learning and keep working until you're no longer able to, something like that.
Whatever you do, you need to continue to keep learning. I mean, also, I think modern science also shows that people who are continuously curious, reading, trying to understand, they also have the tendency of getting less Alzheimer and these kind of diseases. So it's even a physical benefit from doing it. But for sure, the world is a huge place. There's so much to learn. I had a very interesting interview with Sadhguru, this Indian guru from Tamil Nadu, quite recently, and I asked him about his worldview, and basically said that, look, the universe is enormous. The world is very big. Even Bharat or India is a huge nation. How can I understand everything? There's no way I can do that. but I can continue to learn. The longer I live, the more I learn. I'm a seeker. I try to understand more, and that's the attitude we should all have. And I really admire.
There's nothing stopping you.
No, exactly. Solheim has exactly the right attitude to this. If you wish, go and see him in Coimbatore. He has a wonderful temple there with a huge statue of Shiva. But more importantly, had this. He can teach us the right way of spending our lives.
You must be very lucky, sir, to be able to meet all these people from all over the world who have different insights on everything. It's basically like you're able to learn everything from all over the world.
I have had an enormous privilege of meeting so many good people. But look, let's also recall that it's not just presidents or spiritual leaders like Sadhguru. I mean, the average man, industrial worker, farmer, there is something to learn from everyone.
Yeah, there's something to learn from everyone. So you're working in many Asian countries regarding the environment and climate change. Why are you focusing more on Asia?
Because Asia is 60% of humanity, so of course it matters. I mean, China, India, and Indonesia together are 40% of all humans. But also, this is the part of the world where there is most positive developments. Asia, we are living in what would be considered the Asian century. And the 19th century was the European century when British colonialists went all over the world. 20th century was dominated by America. 21st century will be dominated by Asia. The sheer numbers, the rapid economic growth. India now has the highest economic growth of any major economy in the world. China, of course, has made a complete miracle of bringing 1.4 billion people out of poverty in very short time. Chinese cities are now the most modern in the world, and much more modern than the West. Just one figure, I mean, for the last 15 years, China has constructed 45,000 kilometers of high-speed rail. Every city in China is connected to this. You can go 350 kilometers per hour between all these cities, while the United States of America has constructed exactly 0, not 1 kilometer of high-speed rail.
Yeah, they're very developed. So I can see why you're focusing a lot on Asia and developing the environmental issues and things like that over here.
Absolutely, and of course for Sri Lanka also, I see a great future in my view, for Sri Lanka connecting more to India. I hope in the future there will be a bridge from Mannar to Rameshwaram in India. Is very short. You can even see across there. And if there was to be a bridge, trade between India and Sri Lanka with skyrocket, contact between people will increase. And particularly southern India is now one of the fastest developing parts of the world. I mean, cities like Hyderabad, Bengaluru, Chennai are probably the fastest growing cities in the world. And there are more skyscrapers in Hyderabad than there is in any city in Europe. So for Sri Lanka also there are huge opportunities. Linking more up for sure to China and others, but particularly linking up to India, which is so close.
Wow. There's a lot of things that I can learn right now. There's some things I haven't even heard of that you're telling me.
There is a ferry, of course, now across from, I mean, look from north eastern Sri Lanka to India. You can take a girlfriend, buy a small boat and go to a cinema in India and come back the same night. It's very, very short. But if you make a bridge, that will make the connectivity. If you had the Chinese high-speed rail, it would take about 2 hours or 2 to 3 hours from Colombo to Chennai by train. So opportunities here are huge.
Yeah. Oh, we have some comments here from Tarindra Kalpage. Some solid insights indeed. And we also have from Nishankar Silva. I'm sure you know him. This is a fantastic session, and Nethila, as a young kid, you are going international. All the best. Thank you very much.
What Nishankar has been able to do, mobilizing young Sri Lankans to fight plastic, is simply miraculous. Fantastic. We need more people like him. And I also hope he can take some of his experience international, because he may also inspire, and not just him, but all the great student warriors against plastic. They can inspire people in other parts of the world to do similar things.
So, sir, I want to ask, So, like, what is your role with the Zero Plastic Movement in Sri Lanka, and like, how do you see their work impacting the planet's future?
My role is just to be an advisor, and they have very kindly asked me to. I mean, I participated in a beach cleanup near Gaul. I participated in some events with students in Colombo. So I'm happy to help out in all these ways, and maybe also link them up to people in India or in Europe who are also fighting plastics. Because we need this kind of mobilization of people, but we also need business to change, to make new, better products, and we need political leaders to regulate the market so that we don't get all this unnecessary plastic into the shops. Look, I mean, why can't we drink from a normal cup? Do we really need a plastic cup? Do we need a straw to drink? I mean, the answer is obvious. I mean, if we really need a straw, why don't we make it from bamboo, which can disintegrate easily in nature? There's so many solutions. We just need to start applying them.
I definitely agree with that. So like, I run an academy to teach entrepreneurship to kids. How can someone run a business sustainably, in a sustainable way? What's your advice you could give to a business?
No, I mean, in the environment sense, of course, it's always to look to the impact of your business on the environment so that there are no negatives. But very often there are positive impact of business. It can help improve the environment. But added to that, also it needs to be sustainable in the sense that you are giving people a decent salary, have a good relationship to the staff. And of course, it needs also to be sustainable in financial terms, otherwise it cannot replicate itself and continue. So there are many aspects of sustainability, but business have an enormous positive role to play. I mean, let me just give you one example. I mean, last week I was in India with Adani. Adani is now probably the richest man in India, or at least very close to. But look, he grew up in the city of Ahmedabad. There were 8 children in the room, and one room for the entire family. Was making school lessons outside in the street light because they had no electricity. And as a young boy, he was running around Ahmedabad on a scooter trying to do some business. Now he is not only one of the richest in India, but Adani is absolutely critical for the green transformation of India, setting up what will be the biggest solar and wind plant in Gujarat in India, but they're also investing in Sri Lanka in wind power in Mannar and offshore. So we need this kind of business. I mean, not everyone can be Adani, not everyone can be Google or Microsoft, but even small and medium-sized businesses have a huge role to play in the green change we need to see.
So that's a very interesting take, sir. So I'll make sure my business is eco-friendly, doesn't damage the environment, because I also love the environment just as much as you. So a small side question.
We should also allow people to change. I mean, look, Adani, he made a lot of money from coal in his early day in business, but now he's changing and turning his business into one of the really engines of the green development of India and Sri Lanka, which is so wonderful to see.
So a small additional question from me, sir. So Zero Plastic is it's a volunteer organization. So can climate change really be prevented by using volunteers?
It cannot be prevented without volunteers, because you need people to make demands to business and governments. I mean, if you don't, political leaders will be very lazy, and business leaders will turn into their old habits of just making money in the wrong way. So you definitely need group or organizations like that. But of course, added, you need political leadership. I mean, you need, in the Sri Lankan context, the President Ranil Wickremesinghe to make the right decisions, to regulate the markets, to set the visions for Sri Lanka, to make the laws so that solar and wind can take root. And you need companies to do it, because only companies can do it at scale. Fortunately, there is absolutely no contradiction between this. You need strong political leadership, strong business, and strong civil society movement like the anti-plastic movement, all at the same time. They would just make each other stronger.
We have a comment here. All the best, Natila. Your inspiration is good for the greenery. Thank you very much. And Mr. Erik Solheim, thank you for your valuable thoughts.
Thank you. It's very reassuring to hear.
So my final question to you, sir, is what is your message to parents and kids who are watching this interview? What do you want to tell them?
I want to tell everyone that they should engage in the green transformation of the world, because that's the main kind of call of the 21st century. But added, I also give a few kind of more personal advice to young people, because I often asked to do that. I was last week I was speaking at a school in Coimbatore in India. There were 300 students who got their master's diploma and bachelor's diploma there. And what I told them was what we have discussed now. Please be curious. Because if don't stop learning, you are finishing school now, you may go to the workplace, but you must continue to learn. And please work hard, because we are fooling ourselves if we think we can achieve something without working hard. Whatever you wish to be, whether it's a good athlete or a musician or a business leader or go into politics, whatever you wish to achieve, you can only achieve it by working hard. And if you look to those who have really achieved something, they worked very, very hard for all their life. And finally, maybe most important of all, please be kind to everyone. And that the importance is not to be kind to bosses, and because everyone is kind to the boss. What is the challenge is you should also be kind to the people who are cleaning the floors, driving the cars, serving the food, growing the fields. We cannot survive without them if no one is cleaning the floors. If we create a very dirty society, if there is no farmer growing the food, we cannot eat. So please respect and show kindness to everyone. And at the end of the day, it will serve you also very well, because if you're kind to everyone, you will get many more friends.
So always be curious and always learn until your last day. Be kind and work hard, because hard work always pays off.
That's my philosophy. Hard work is not like you can be just talented. The greatest football players or cricket players or musicians, how did they get there? Where they worked very, very hard. They were exercising over and over and over again. I just told a story about Michael Jordan, this fantastic basketball player. He said the reason why he has become so good is that he missed thousands upon thousands of times. But every time he missed, he tried to learn from it and do better next time.
Yeah.
That's how
I also love basketball. That's what I'm doing at school.
Yeah. Okay, very good. Yeah.
So finally, sir, I'd like to thank you very much for taking your time to be here and allow us to learn from you like this, because it's a great experience for me and for the audience. And I would also like to thank you for all the services you've done for Sri Lanka, especially through using zero plastic.
Thank you so much. It's been a great conversation with you, and I wish you all the best, and I'm sure we'll meet in the future.
It's an honor to meet you, sir. It was an honor to meet you.